honest, let them brutally, bluntly honest. Is there not something really deeply satisfying about seeing someone that you think is really messed up and saying, that is despicably wrong? Is there not something deeply satisfying about that? In other words, wow, I may be messed up, but I am sure not messed up with that people. Maybe it's just me. I'm seeing some of you nod your heads, and some of you look at me like I'm from Mars, but maybe it's me. But there's something deeply satisfying. My self-righteous self go, Yeah, when I was growing up, and I take this illustration from Donald Miller, who's a fantastic author, from his book, Searching for God Knows What. I highly recommend the book. But it's an illustration. And you remember this? You remember going when we were in school? I remember doing this a little bit. They did values clarification. And in some form, and somebody after first service was telling me about this on a spaceship kind of hook to you, but in some form, you're in a lifeboat, let's say. And I got a picture here to help illustrate this picture in your mind. There's a lifeboat. Your ship has gone down, and there's about 8 of you in this lifeboat. But the lifeboat only handles about 7 people. It's a bit crowded, and it's going to start taking on water. And all of you are going to be drowned because you're in shark-infested water. So if you don't drown, you're going to be eaten by sharks. And you have to pick which one of your people are going to be thrown overboard. Okay, so we've got here a pregnant woman. That's the first one. Any question about that? That's the first one on that end. Okay, good. You got an athlete. That's next. You have a lawyer. He's with the hat. You have a model. You have a little boy. You have a dude that has spike hair. It's really fun. You have a stay-at-home mom, and then you have a really lazy person who's leaning back and relaxing in the boat. Which one of these people are you going to throw overboard and why?
Probably the lazy one.
Let him swim. The lawyer, did you say? The athlete, let him swim. They can outswim the shark. And something about this says a certain level of how we value other people by who we decide to kick out, what their value is in society. And I'm not going to make you pick, and I'm not going to have you sit around your table and decide which one you cast off. Some of you want that, but no. I'm not going to do that. But this is kind of like the way that we often live life. We value ourselves based on how we compare with other people. When you walked in here, especially if this is your first or second time, but remember back the first or second time you walked in here, you walked in and you sized people up. You looked around at other people and went, wow, he's got really curly hair that's really big. That's you. Yeah. Oh. And you made a judgment call about him and the way he looked. You looked for other people that were dressed as casually or as dressed up as you were and said, hey, I can relate to that person. And you looked at other people and went, wow, they look like a mess. Those people are weird over there. So I don't want to talk to them. And you made judgment calls when you walked in based on the people that were here. If you didn't, you're Jesus. So I'm guessing most of us did it, because I don't think most of us are Jesus here. You made judgment calls and said, I fit in. And you've done this in work. You look at somebody else and you grade everybody else at your job about how well they work and how well they get along with other people and how you fit into the pecking order of your little group at work or in your neighborhood or whatever. I'm scared about it. I want to go out and buy weed and feed for our lawn here real quick before the dandelions grow, because I don't want to be the neighbor with the bad yard.
Oh, brother. Come to our yard.
I don't want people to look at my yard going, yeah, it's them. Yeah. We judge people like that, and there's something deeply satisfying about looking at someone that you may view as going, wow, that's weird, and going, that's really odd, and those are weird people. And yet, it's dead wrong. I can't judge the hearts of the people that I read, but I can read the attitude that I hear in their words. And I think that if Jesus came down into the middle of this situation, his first words would be to them. Romans chapter 12, verse 3 says this. Because of the privilege and authority God has given me, I give each of you this warning, don't think you are better than you really are. Be honest in your evaluation of yourselves. Measure yourselves by the faith God has given us. In other words, look at yourself and realize that you have problems before you start looking at someone else and getting on a high horse saying those people are really messed up. Take a clear, hard look at yourself first. I think that if Jesus were in our society right now dealing with this story, he would walk down and he would pick up those stones and he would say, okay, whoever here is without sin, cast the first stone. You think that you're so much better? Fine. You want to look at the sin in your life? Let's write it down on a piece of paper. Before we come here, and as a spiritual community, we pull up our pants to a really high level and look down our proverbial noses at someone else that is in a situation that we don't understand and say, yeah, wow, they're messed up. That's wrong. They're bad. Let's take a really clear, hard look at ourselves.